I'm Vic Myers. Welcome to the Resistance. So a few years ago, I was hearing about how the Second Amendment was all about slavery, and I knew that that was nonsense. So I did some research because I wanted to talk about it and be able to back myself up. And this is what I found. The Second Amendment, the story of the Second Amendment, actually goes way, way back into 1500s England. Kings used standing armies to control their own people, and Parliament pushed back. The citizens demanded the right to bear arms, not for hunting, but to protect themselves from tyranny. Our founders inherited that fear. After the Revolution, they argued bitterly about whether the new government should even have a standing army. Many of them didn't trust federal military power. So they leaned on a system of state militias, local citizen soldiers under the control of the states, and not the president. The Second Amendment was written to protect that structure, not to guarantee every individual could carry a gun. That wasn't a fringe view, that was the law. And in 1876, the Supreme Court said in United States versus Cruikshank, the Second Amendment is not a guarantee that an individual may keep and bear a gun. Then in 1939, the court ruled in United States v. Miller, the right to keep and bear arms must have some reasonable relationship to the preservation or efficiency of a well-regulated militia. Until about the 1950s, judges were nearly unanimous. The Second Amendment protected a collective right tied to militias and not an individual right. But that all changed in 2008 with the District of Columbia v. Heller, known as the Heller decision, when the court ruled for the first time ever that the Second Amendment protects an individual's right to own guns for self-defense. That decision rewrote over 200 years of legal precedent. But here's what most people don't realize. Those state militias didn't just disappear. They were reorganized in the early 1900s into what we now call the National Guard. Still state-controlled, unless federalized in times of war or emergency. It's the modern descendant of the militias the founders were talking about. And that brings us to today. Just last week, federal judge Charles Breyer struck down Donald Trump's attempt to federalize California's National Guard, taking military control away from the governor, away from the state. Judge Breyer ruled it unconstitutional. He said it was a direct violation of states' rights. And that decision gets to the heart of the Second Amendment's original purpose, to keep military power in the hands of the people and the states, not the president. The Second Amendment wasn't about hunting, wasn't about open carry. It was about states resisting tyranny from the federal government. And here's a warning to Second Amendment enthusiasts. Again, I know I sound like a broken record, don't I? If you really care about protecting your rights, then you should be deeply concerned about any president, Democrat or Republican, trying to illegally take control of the National Guard. Because that's the real threat to the Second Amendment. If the Supreme Court says he can do that, they can simultaneously render the Second Amendment meaningless. Thanks for listening. Good day.